What happens when a giant of the faith nearly meets death on stage? The world watched in disbelief as Bishop T.D. JAKES collapsed mid-sermon in 2024. But the aftermath, it's a story of power, legacy, hidden tensions, and a family takeover that has stunned believers and skeptics alike. The collapse that rocked the church on November 24, 2024, the faithful packed into the Potter's house in Dallas, Texas, expecting a fiery word from the pulpit. What they got instead was a moment that would send shockwaves across the Christian world. Bishop T.D. JAKES, the legendary preacher, businessman, and spiritual father to millions, suddenly collapsed mid-sermon. Gasps echoed through the 30,000-seat sanctuary as JAKES stumbled, clutched his chest, and fell. His microphone dropped. Security and medical staff rushed to the pulpit. Congregants began praying, screaming, crying. He was rushed to the hospital. The diagnosis? A massive heart attack, one that doctors say could have killed him instantly. The right side of his heart was completely blocked, said a source close to the family. He had no idea how close he was to death. A brush with death? And a message from God? For a man who spent decades preaching about life, death, faith, and resurrection, the irony was undeniable. T.D. JAKES, the voice behind "Woman, Thou Art Loosed," and crushing, now lay in a hospital bed, questioning whether he'd ever preach again. According to insiders, JAKES reportedly said, "I didn't feel pain, I just knew something was wrong." And then, silence. "I woke up thinking, is this it? But God wasn't done with me yet." Doctors performed emergency surgery, clearing the blockage. His life was saved, but everything changed. The quiet decision. T.D. JAKES plans his exit. The world didn't know it at the time, but while recovering, JAKES began planning something monumental, something no one expected: his retirement from active ministry. By April 2025, he made the announcement official. "It's time for a new generation. I'm handing the baton to my daughter Sarah and her husband Touré." The crowd fell silent. Social media exploded. Memes, prayers, reactions. The Christian internet went into full meltdown. T.D. JAKES was stepping down. Meet the new leaders. Sarah and Touré Roberts, who are the chosen ones now leading the legacy. Sarah Jakes Roberts, the dynamic, fashion-forward preacher known for her honesty, empowerment, and viral sermons, is no stranger to the spotlight. A teen mom turned author and pastor, she had already built her own empire with Woman Evolve, a movement that blended sisterhood, scripture, and self-love. Her husband, Pastor Touré Roberts, is a respected speaker, author, and spiritual leader in his own right, founder of One Church in Los Angeles. Together, they've become a power couple in modern ministry. Now they're the co-leaders of the Potter's House, one of the largest churches in America. The critics come for blood, but not everyone is clapping. The moment Sarah and Touré were announced as successors, controversy erupted. Behind the smiles and praise were murmurs of nepotism. Are they ready? Is this a spiritual decision or a family business move? Critics pointed to Sarah's past, her teenage pregnancy, her early divorce, her glamorous Instagram, and questioned whether she was holy enough. Others accused Touré of rebranding Christianity and being too Hollywood. One viral tweet read, "So we're just handing megachurches over like inheritance now? This ain't Game of Thrones." Inside the power shift, what really went down, according to insiders, JAKES didn't make the decision lightly. Sources close to the family say, he watched Sarah for years, how she handled scandal, criticism, motherhood, and ministry. He saw her evolve. He saw God in her. And Touré? He had reportedly been in confidential meetings with JAKES for over a year, preparing for a possible transition. In other words, this wasn't sudden, this was strategic, calculated, divine, or dangerously corporate. The church reacts, division or revival. In the weeks following the announcement, the Potter's House congregation was split. Some wept in support, others quietly left. A longtime church member shared, "I love Bishop, but I didn't sign up for the Sarah and Touré show. This feels like a new religion." Yet others felt the opposite. "It's time. We need younger voices. Fresh fire." Sarah speaks to a generation. Bishop never could. Social media became a battleground. Team JAKES versus Team Roberts. Bishop JAKES speaks out. One last sermon? In a powerful emotional address streamed worldwide, JAKES finally spoke about his decision. "I almost died and I realized, I've given all I can. I must rest." But the work continues. He blessed Sarah and Touré publicly, laying hands on them. Tears flowed. Applause erupted. It was part funeral, part coronation. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. "I'll still teach, but I will no longer carry the weight of the house." A new era had begun. Secrets, struggles, and spiritual warfare? Some close to the ministry say the transition wasn't as smooth as it looked. One insider claimed there was tension behind the scenes. Some staff weren't on board. There were resignations. Rumors also swirled about financial restructuring, leadership disputes, and internal power plays. Another source hinted, "Jakes has enemies. People who don't want Sarah leading. There's spiritual warfare happening, real talk." The Roberts reportedly brought in new systems, new staff, and new strategies, shifting from tradition to technology, from hymns to hashtags. What's next for the Potter's House? Under Sarah and Touré's leadership, the church is undergoing a radical transformation. End-to-end services now include spoken word, live panels, and therapy sessions. The worship experience is digital first, streaming to millions, and women lead prayer. Millennials run strategy. Fashion and faith walk hand in hand. It's not your grandma's church anymore, but will it last? The bishop's new life? Out of the pulpit, into the studio. Meanwhile, Bishop T.D. Jakes is not slowing down, just shifting lanes. He's now focused on a brand new spiritual podcast set to launch this year and writing his next book titled The Silence Between. Heartbeats intend hosting private leadership summits for emerging pastors and occasional guest sermons and interviews. "I've preached thousands of sermons," he told Today. "Now I want to talk to people, not just preach at them." He's also spending more time with family, traveling, and mentoring younger ministers. Legacy or let down? The big question now is, will the Jakes legacy survive this shift? Some say yes, that Sarah and Touré are breathing new life into the church. Others say no, that something special died the day Jakes stepped down. But one thing is clear, the world is watching. Because when spiritual empires transition, the stakes are higher than ever. Will Sarah and Touré rise, or collapse under the weight of greatness? Final word, the man, the message. The moment T.D. Jakes didn't just preach sermons. He shaped a generation. He empowered Black entrepreneurship, spoke to broken hearts, and inspired millions to rise from the ashes. Now, after nearly dying on the pulpit he built, he has chosen legacy over ego, health over hustle, and succession over silence. And whether the world agrees or not, his torch has been passed. The question is, what will Sarah and Touré do with the flame? Though the transition at the Potter's House appeared seamless on the surface, insiders tell a very different story. According to sources close to the ministry, the shift in leadership from Bishop T.D. Jakes to his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and her husband, Touré Roberts, sparked quiet turmoil behind the scenes. There was tension behind the scenes. Some staff weren't on board. There were resignations, one insider revealed, pointing to a wave of internal shakeups. Whispers of financial restructuring, leadership clashes, and power struggles only added fuel to the fire. Jakes has enemies, people who don't want Sarah leading. There's spiritual warfare happening. Real talk, another source hinted, suggesting that not everyone believed in the couple's vision for the future of the church.